Hello friends, welcome to Jumpstart Test Automation, and this is Praveen. The agenda of today's session is this. So we are going to see about the environment setup and then a little bit of Java and also Selenium. You can always search this video by searching at GSTA as given here in YouTube to find the videos. And the audience of this video playlist is any manual tester and any given fresher. So the way this tutorial is designed is you don't have to read Java and Selenium individually. It goes hand in hand. That's the main agenda of this playlist. Right, let's get into the environment setup. So I'm going to use Eclipse as the IDE. IDE is a integrated development environment which is used to develop the code for automating the web application. So let me show you how to download the same. So you can Google Eclipse download. If you are using a 32-bit machine, you can search for 32-bit version, or you just can search Eclipse download. So this goes to the Eclipse website. Here you can find the latest version of the Eclipse, and this is for 64-bit. How do you find whether your system is 32-bit or 64-bit? Go to the start, get the properties of the computer, and here you can see whether it's a 64-bit or a 32-bit operating system. Based on your requirement, your machine's requirement, you can always download the suitable version of Eclipse. So let me download Eclipse for 64-bit. Let me search like this. So here I have this URL, Eclipse IDE for Java developers. This is more than enough for a tester to start automating his test case. So this is the version that we need as a tester or a fresher. So this will have the Maven integrator and Eclipse Java development tools. So I have already downloaded it and installed it. You can just follow the on-screen information. It's pretty simple to install the downloaded version of the Eclipse. So once downloaded, this is how the Eclipse looks like, and we can start creating our project and start working on it. Before that, we need Java JDK. JDK is the Java development kit which you need to download. So let me Google it as Java download. So here I have chosen Java development kit 11. So I go to this website, I agree the terms and conditions, then I'll go and download the 64-bit version of Java. It's preferable to download the exe. So I've already downloaded it, and just follow the on-screen information to install the Java. Once it is installed, you have to set the path in the global variable for the Java. Okay, how do you set the path? Go to my computer, click on properties, click on advanced system settings, go for the environment variables, and in here you will see something called as path. So this is where you have to set the path of the JDK that is installed in your system. So what is the meaning of this system variables? Why do you have to set the path? See, Java is utilized by many applications, just like how it is used for test automation, and we have to tell Windows where Java is installed. So we have to give the path of the Java installation. And what is the difference between this user variables and system variables? If you see the user variables, if you set the path, it will be available only for the particular user. But when you set the path for as a system variable, it will be available for any user logging into this machine. So let me edit this, and if you can see this, let me copy and paste this in a notepad. See, I have already given the path of the Java here. Okay, so this is my Java path. Let me open it up and go to start and go to run, enter this, open it up. See, this is where my Java is installed. And always when you set a path, you should always set it until the bin folder, because bin stands for binary and it has all the library files. The file, what do you mean by library files? The files which has an extension .dll, which is dynamic linked library, and these files are the ones the Windows will look for in order to utilize any given plugin. Okay, so in this case we are going to use Java Development Kit JDK. So we are setting up the path until bin. Okay, so I've already set it up. So how do I verify whether the path is set or not? So let me go to command prompt cmd, and I'll just type path. So if you see this, the Java path is reflected here. Okay, I'm sorry, it is reflected here until bin. Okay, so how do I check the version of Java that is installed? I'll go to any given folder in the command prompt and I'll type in Java version. So it says Java version 11.0.1 is installed. So this is how you can verify whether Java is installed and working fine or not. So let me move on to the Eclipse. This is an error that is coming with Java 11, so you can ignore this for now. This has nothing to impact with the test execution, so I'll just minimize that, ignore it, and I'll move on. Now I'll show you how to create a Maven project. So what is next in the agenda? We have downloaded the Eclipse, and we have downloaded the JDK, and we have set up the Java path. Okay, now we are going to go for the Maven project setup. What is there are multiple types of projects that can be created. We'll prefer Maven, so I'll go to new and select. So you can just type in Java if you want to create a Java project, but it's always better to create a Maven project. The reason being is, let me create this Maven project first. Okay, create a simple project, that's enough. Click upon it, group ID, artifact ID is I'll just click upon finish. So now my Maven project is created. There are two types of views. One is Project Explorer, other one is Package Explorer. So I prefer Package Explorer. Okay, this is a project which is of type Maven is created. So the reason why we need to go to Maven when compared to Java project is, in Java project we will have to download manually all the external jars. When I say external jars, it's the external plugins that is needed in order to support Selenium to run. And also Selenium is also a third-party jar that needs to be downloaded and integrated to the project in order to run it. So there will be umpteen number of jar files that we may need to do the test automation. So every time we cannot have all the jars downloaded and linked to the project. So to make that easier, we'll go for the Maven project. So what happens with Maven project is, this is a pom.xml file that is created in the root folder of the Maven project. Here we'll add the dependencies. So what is a dependency? Dependency uh, is the configuration that is added into this pom.xml to download the jars automatically instead of manually one by one. Say let's have a scenario of let's have a team of 100 or 100 plus testers, automation testers, where um, they need to set up the environment individually in 100 missions. So instead of giving them a checklist to download some 20 jars that is needed for test automation, we can we can simply give them this pom.xml. If they copy and paste this pom.xml in their individual mission, automatically the dependencies will be downloaded. When I say dependencies, it's the external jars that are needed for automation or for test automation, because there are high chances of people missing a couple of jars or jar files or dependencies if they try to add it manually. So that's the reason we go for Maven project. So what is a Maven project? A Maven project downloads the dependencies automatically when it is given as a when it is defined in the pom.xml. So how do we go for the pom.xml dependencies? So what are the dependencies that we need to download? So I have the set of different dependencies defined already. I'll just copy paste it here and I'll explain. I'll also give the dependencies in the description. You can always refer to it. So if you see, I have copied and pasted it here, and it is not really in a great format to read. So I'll just press Control Shift and F, so it gets auto formatted. So what are the dependencies I have? So dependencies are defined under the tab dependencies. Okay, this is the end tag of dependencies. So see, I have used Selenium. I have used three dependencies for Selenium, because we can use Selenium WebDriver standalone server, or we can use Selenium-support, Selenium-API, and Selenium-Java together. Because if the difference is, if the browsers um, if the test execution is going to happen in the same machine, say for example the Selenium, where the Selenium is installed, and the browsers are also on the same machine, so you are going to execute it in the same machine, then you may not need the Selenium standalone server. But on the other hand, if you are going to maintain Selenium in one server and going to trigger the test execution in multiple slave nodes or different machines, then you might have to uh, download Selenium standalone server. But we are not going to use Selenium standalone now, so let me move on with these dependencies. Okay, I have dependencies for JUnit and also for testng. Okay, there is a key thing to note here. I actually don't need JUnit, so I'll remove it, but JUnit comes by default with JDK, but we are going to use testng, so I'll remove this. Okay, so then I have this Maven Surefire plugin. This plugin is used to execute the unit test cases. This is just an execution plugin. We can remove this if we don't need it. And we have other dependencies like Apache Commons, and this dependency is for using the extent report, which is a third-party plugin for HTML reporting. And I'm using log4j. Log4j is a dependency which is needed for systematic logging of the test execution, meaning there will be an output in after we can define Selenium to print output for each and every line into a log file as well as in the console output. And this Apache POI is used to read and write Excel data. So these are the pretty much dependencies pretty much used. And let me press Ctrl S. See what's happening when I hit Ctrl S. It automatically starts downloading the dependencies. See, it has started building workplaces and started downloading sources. If you could see this, it is starting the downloads. So these are all downloaded. Where can I see these jars downloaded? You can see there's a folder created as Maven dependencies. Here you can see all the different dependencies downloaded based on the dependencies that we have declared in the pom.xml. Okay, so what if I don't know these dependencies, or I don't remember these dependencies, or I have lost these dependencies? No issues, you can always Google it. Let me say Selenium Maven dependency. It leads to a Maven repository. Okay, let's take this URL. This is a website where you can always download. Say I've used Selenium Java, Selenium API. Let's go to this. This is the latest version of it, and I'll click upon it. Here I can see the dependency for Maven project. There are multiple dependencies for multiple types of project, Gradle or SPT, but we are going to use Maven project. So you can always copy this dependency and paste it into your pom.xml. Okay. Let me move on again to Eclipse. So if you could see the project structure of the Maven project, we have four key folders: source main Java, source main resources, okay, and source test Java and source test resources. Any reusable components, we will maintain it in the source main Java. Any reusable Java classes, any sources like config.properties files, configuration related files, we will keep it in the main resources. And source test is always used to maintain the test cases and test case related supporting files like test data. We can keep it in test resources, and test case code we can keep it in test source test Java. Right, so let me show you how we start creating a new class files. So right click on source main Java, new, and go for other. Okay, so now I'll create a, let me search for class. So I'll create a class. So I'll create a class with main method, and then I'll give the class name. Class name always starts with a capital letter. We can remember C as in C for class and capital. So I'll hit finish. So a new class is created. So this class is created. Always we need a starting point to trigger our test case or to trigger any given program. So this main method is the triggering point for the Java program. if we are going to create a testng class, this main class is internally handled, so you don't have to create a main method in Java class. Let me also show you how we create a testng class. See here, I'm clicking on testng class. This is only project show and the package where I want to create it. Right? So you see here, there is no main method created for a testng class, but it is created with a testng annotation, which is add test. Okay. We can see we'll be seeing about testng more in detail in our upcoming videos. So for now, let me close this. And move on to this Java program. Okay. So I'll type syso and control space. It'll give the full syntax of the system.out.print. So if you give always control space, it will show you the recommendations of the command or the word that you have typed. Okay, so I'll put sysout, print to standard output. Let me save this program. So this is our console output. Here you can see this text welcome to @jsta is being printed. So let me right click, click my first program and run it as a Java application. See, it has printed the text that is given. Okay. Let me tell you something. One more step we need to do as part of the environment setup. Whenever you create a project, you have to right click the project and go to build path, add a configure build path. So this is an important step that I missed to tell, so I'm telling you right now. So you can always mention where you have your libraries. So you have this JRE system library. Sometimes this may throw error. Maven dependencies are already added. So it's all automatically added. So if in case it is not added, then you have to configure the build path manually by giving the JRE location. So we have created a successfully one main method, one Java main method, and we have printed the text welcome to @jsta. Okay, there are two types of methods. In fact, one is the main method, the other one is the non-main method. Main method is always going to be only one, and non-main methods are going to be more. Let me create one non-main method. Public static void print something. Okay, so this will be my non-main method. Okay, let me type syso and control space. I got the recommendation. Now I'm printing. Okay, so this I'm going to print search @jsta in YouTube. Let me see what it throws in the console output, what it prints in the console output. I have ran it again. Still it is printing only welcome to JSTA. The reason why this is not printed, because we need to call this method in the main method, because Java does not call this print something method unless you call it in the main method. So how do I do that? So I'll go just simply type print and press a control space so that it will give the recommendation. You can see print something, the method with name print something is displayed, and it returns a void, and it is from the class my first program.java is the class. So let me double click on it. Now it is calling print something. Now when I run it, see, it prints both welcome to @JSDA and search @JSDA in YouTube. Okay, so now let me tell you what does this first line means. This first line is called as the signature in Java. Okay, and this line within the flower braces is called the implementation. This is the signature of the method, and this is the any code defined within the method is called the implementation. We'll be often using these keywords. Okay, and so what does this public mean? There are multiple access modifiers we'll be seeing in our upcoming videos. So for now, public means this method is accessible across any number of classes within the same project, any number of packages, or any classes. Okay, what does this static keyword means? Static keyword is used in Java just to create the memory space for once. It will not be created multiple times. I'll show you that with an example in a few minutes. So what does this void mean? Again, there are two different types, two different ways how you write the methods. One is method returning nothing, other one is method returning something. So this method actually doesn't return anything, okay, because it says void means null. Okay, so let me write another method, public static, and I want to return a string. Okay, so I've created this method, and this method is showing me some error. Let me hover on this bulb. This method must return a result of type string, and this is the error. And if you mouse over the actual error, it gives two quick fixes. Please do not click any of these quick fixes unless or otherwise you are really sure about what it's going to do to your code, because it might add some piece of code in any part of the program based on the recommendations and the framework that you are working upon, and it will be really hard for you to fix that. So it's always, if you are not sure, just don't use the quick fix. Okay, I'm sure that I need a return statement. So because this method is returning string, so I have to give a return statement. So let me click on this. See, it is added with a return statement. This return statement is not present in this method, not this method, because these both methods return only void. So I want to return some string. So okay, so let me see, search GST in Facebook, right? So now I'll call this method. Okay, I'll call this method here. I'm typing ret and control space. Now it recommends there is a method which starting with ret, which returns a string, and it is from the class my first program. Okay, let's see what it's printing in the console. Okay, it is not printing that string because we are not we have not added any print statement. What is the print statement? This is the print statement. System.out.println is the print statement. This method is returning a string, but we are not calling it to print. So how we can do it? We can add a sysO statement here, and I will cut this and paste it here. Now let's see what happens. See this? Now it is able to print the return statement, search at JST in Facebook, as part of the main method, because this method is returning a string and it is printed. Okay, so this way I can also return an integer. Always when you give a name for a method or a class, always give a meaningful name, because as you start automating your test suite, you will end up in umpteen number of test cases and variables and methods and classes. It could be in hundreds or even thousands. So it's always better to have a meaningful name for the class or a variable or a method, whatsoever that you use in your framework, so that it will be easy for you to refer to it. So now again it is showing me an error to add a return statement. Now I'm adding something. Let me see. Okay, let me return this integer, and I'll copy and paste the statement. And now when I say return a, it is recommending two methods with the same name, but this is with string, this is with integer, and this is what I need. This method returns integer and from the class my first program. And another recommendation is always copy paste a method name or a class name or an XPath rather than typing it, because Java is case sensitive and you might end up in errors if the names doesn't match. Okay, so let me see, it is showing me somewhere. Okay, as I have mentioned the number within quotes, it is suggesting me change method return type to string. Let's click on this. What is happening? You see this? The integer has changed to string because based on the return type. But I don't need a string, so I'm going to Control Z and undo it. I need a number, so any number or anything defined within the quotes will be treated as a string. Now you see this is a number and it is accepted as number as it is. So let me run this program. See this? Now I got the number printed. Fine. So this is how we use the main method and the non-main methods, and the methods returning void and methods returning string or integer. Likewise, we can return a boolean value. Boolean is nothing but a true or false, and we can return an object also, or a string object or an array. Anything can be written, which we will be seeing in our upcoming videos. Okay. So if we want a boolean value to be returned, then use the return type as boolean. So it's throwing because an error because there are two methods with the same name. So what is a boolean? Boolean is a data type which returns true or false. So let me see, true. So this is the boolean it returns, or it can be false. Okay. So now let me show you how to create a non-static method. All these methods we have created are static methods. Now I'm going to create a method without this static keyword. Let me create it here. Public void create non-static method. Okay, this is my signature, and I'll start writing the implementation of this one. Sysho, this is a non-static method. Okay, I'm going to print this line. This is a non-static method. So let me see if I'm able to get a recommendation of this. Create. See, I'm not getting the recommendation of this method. Create non-static. No, I'm not getting any recommendations at all. Why? Because this is a non-static method. Let me try copying and copy pasting this entire method name, and then still I have this error. Let me hover over this bulb. Cannot make a static reference to the non-static method from the type my first program. What it says is cannot make a static reference to a non-static method. Create non-static method. Create non-static method is a non-static method which cannot be called within a static method. So what is our static method? The main method is a static method, so it does not allow calling a non-static method within it. Okay, so what is the workaround to do that? We need to create object for this non-static method. I mean, we'll not create an object for this method, but we'll create an object for the class where this non-static method is residing. So let me create an object. How do we? Java is an object-oriented programming system and language, so we have to use the object instance to call any non-static methods. Okay, so how do we create an object for this class my first program? My first program control space equal to mfp equal to, using the new keyword. This is a keyword new. Anything that comes in this color is a keyword, Java keyword. Okay, and then copy paste the class name. Fine. This is how you create a object instance. So this object instance is created for this class my first program. Now let's see. I'm using this object mfp now is an object that is returning my first program class. Always an object has to return something. Say for example, let's create a variable int a equal to 1. Okay, string b equal to @jst. Okay, these are a and b are two variables of data type integer and of data type string. Okay, so a will return an integer and its value is 1. B has a data type of string and it returns a string value of @jst. Likewise, mfp is a variable where it has a data type of this class. It returns this class as an object because we are using this new keyword. Fine. So let me comment these two lines, go for control and Okay, so now coming back to this object that we have created, let me type mfp dot. So this dot will give you recommendations of what are all the methods that I can call that is defined within this mfp class. What are the methods that we have in the mfp class? User defined methods. See this, the create non-static methods. Okay, see I also have the static methods listed here: print something, return a boolean, return an integer, return a string, and main method, which are returning different return types, and these are from the my first program, the same object. And also it lists a non-static method. I'll create that. Click on it. So now I'm able to call this non-static method within the, and now I'm able to call this non-static method within the static main method by the with the help of the object initialization. How do we initialize the object? We initialize the object of the class with the keyword new. Okay, now let me see what the the console output prints. Okay, see it, now it has printed this is a non-static method, right? So that's the basic on the Java for this video. Now we'll move on to Selenium. Now I have downloaded the Selenium jars into my library using Maven dependencies. Okay, now I need to tell the Selenium to talk to the Chrome browser, talk to a browser. In our case, we'll take upon the Chrome browser, and we need a driver to make Selenium talk to the Chrome browser. So we need to download the Chrome browser. So let's go to seleniumhq.org and go to download. This is the official page for Selenium, and just scroll down a bit. You will see the latest version of the Google Chrome driver, and this is for the Firefox. It is called as the Gecko driver, and for Opera browser, Microsoft Edge browser, okay, we have. And this Ghost driver or HTML unit driver are used to run the test cases headless, which means without opening the browser, if you want the test cases to be executed in the background, then we utilize HTML unit driver and Safari driver, and the Ghost driver. Okay, so these two drivers are used to run the Selenium test cases in the background without opening the Chrome browser. We'll be seeing this in our upcoming videos. Okay, but for now, let's download this Google Chrome driver, the latest version of the same. Okay, so I'll click on this and I'll click Win32. There's only one version of this one, and you download the zip, you will get a .exe file, and now it's downloaded. So what I'll do is I already have this downloaded in my local, so let me use that. This is the latest Chrome driver, and ensure that if you get any compatibility issues in triggering the browser, always ensure that whether you have the latest Chrome browser and Chrome driver, because in Chrome browser we will be having automatic update enabled. Okay, so you can always check that about Google. Go to this options and help about Google Chrome. You can always see checking for updates, and this is the latest version of the build. Okay, sometimes this might change from one system to another where it is enabled. In some system it might not be, so you might end up, you know, with compatibility issues. And check for this. Always it's advisable to have the latest version of the Chrome or any given browser, and the driver, the latest version of the driver for the same. Okay, so I have the latest Chrome and I have the latest Chrome driver. So now that I already have this in place, let me copy this. I've copied this and I'll just put it in a resources folder. Okay, so I'll create something, a folder called I'll create a folder within resources, and I'll call it as drivers. And now I'll paste the Chrome driver here. See, here's Chrome driver. So the resources are here. Now I'll create a method public static void get Webdriver. Java is case sensitive and it will not accept any space within it, so you have to write this way. Okay, always it's better to write it in camel case. What is camel case? It starts with a small letter and any subsequent individual letter starts with capital. Okay, I can write like this also, but this is not camel case, it's all small case, but it's better to write it in the camel case in order to differentiate between the individual words. Okay, so public static void get Webdriver. So I'll use this class system dot set property. First I need to set the property of, I have to tell the Java code where my Chrome, where to pick up my Chrome driver from. Okay, this is just a syntax to be followed, and here we'll give the path of the Chrome driver. There are two ways that we can define the path. One is absolute path and the other one is the relative path. Absolute path starts from this entire uh, parent. Let me show you the path of the Chrome driver. Right click on the Chrome driver and go to properties. So this is the absolute path, this entire path. We don't have to really give this absolute path. We can give a relative path, which means it starts from GST Selenium project source main resources. So I'm having in D drive Dropbox and Jumpstart test automation, then Eclipse workspace, but you need not have to have the same path. Okay, you can have it in C colon Selenium automation slash then JST Selenium project SRC. So if I hardcode this path into my code, it will fail. So I'll give a relative path to pick it from. I'll start with resources folder or source main folder or just drivers folder. Let me show you how I'll do it. I'll give a relative path dot double backslash and I'll go to drivers and from driver.exe. Okay, and I'll end the statement with semicolon. Let's see, it's showing some error. Okay, so see, now the error is resolved. So now I'll initialize my, I'll create a new class object to get my Selenium WebDriver. Okay, now it's showing me error. What error is that? WebDriver cannot be resolved to a type, which means Java is not able to understand what this keyword WebDriver means. So let's hover on top of it, mouse over it. Okay, change to WebDriver. It's a case sensitive and it is throwing error. Okay, so let me change to capital D. Okay, still it shows the error. Now it shows import WebDriver from this package. Okay, so what is this package? We have to import the WebDriver from the jar file. If you see this space, if you on above the package, it will be imported. You can see a line added. Let me hover mouse over it. I'll click import and I'll just scroll up. I'm sorry, when it's after the package. So now it has imported from org.openqa.selenium WebDriver. Let's see why it is again showing. Sorry, it's not WebDriver. It has to be Chrome driver. Okay. So now it shows me error and it asks me to import Chrome driver from org openqa Selenium Chrome. Let me click on it. See this? Again, this line is imported now. So now I can use this. Driver is my keyword. Okay. Now this variable is defined within this method get WebDriver. So this cannot be accessed from other methods. Okay. Let me show you. Let's have this driver and the current URL. Let me open up test.jumpstart test automation dot site. Okay. And okay, and I'll just try to maximize that. So I'm maximizing it. So let me see. I'll call this method within the main method and control space. Let me run this program. And I need to close it as well. Driver dot close. Okay, before closing, I'll ask Selenium to wait for 5 seconds. So this will wait for 5 seconds. Okay. Let's see what error it is throwing. Okay, it says unhandled exception type interrupted exception. So what is the suggestions its quick fixes is giving? Add throws declaration. So what it is saying is, what in case of an exception is occurring, what this Java program should be directed to do. So it should throw an exception. So add throws exception will give add these two words into the signature of the method. So throws is a keyword for exception handling. There are multiple types of exception which we'll be seeing in our upcoming videos, but what I would recommend is always have a generic exception so that any given exception will be thrown. Okay, now I'm just closing this browser after opening it. Okay, there are two things, driver.close and driver.quit. Driver.close will close the browser. Driver.quit will close the instance of the Chrome driver, meaning any given number of browsers are opened for in a single run. Say we might have more than one browser are triggered when we try to run in parallel. So this driver.quit will close all the browsers, all the instances of Selenium during the parallel execution, but driver.close will only close the given instance, which means only the current browser. Okay, so let me have only driver.close. Let's see how it runs. Let's see, there's an error here. Unhandled exception type exception. I'll click upon it. Now I have called this getWebDriver throwing an exception in the main method. Now it's showing again error. So wherever I call it within in that method also it should throw some. We should advise that particular method also, the calling method also, with what to do be what needs to be done with an exception. So it again we need to add the same keywords. Let's run it. Okay, it's showing me some exception. The driver executable does not exist in this particular folder. Okay, let me fix that up. See, I have fixed the path. Now the browser is triggered. My system is a little slow, and wait, let's see, it has already thrown an error. Cannot navigate to an invalid URL because the URL doesn't have an HTTP within it. Okay, let me rerun it again. See, it has entered the URL and the website is loaded. Alright, and now Selenium waits for 5 seconds and closes this browser. See, it has closed. Okay. So in this video, what we have seen how to set up the environment, how to set up how to download and install Eclipse and JDK. Okay, and then how to create a Maven project and set up pom.xml with dependencies. And then we have seen Java, the main and non-main methods, and methods returning void and uh, any string or integer or boolean. And then we have seen static and non-static methods, and we have seen how to create an object for non-static methods and call it in the static method. And we have seen how to download Chrome browser and Chrome driver, and how to trigger Chrome browser using Selenium. Okay, basically initiating the WebDriver. Thanks for watching the videos. You can always search at JSTA in YouTube to reach to this video. Thank you.